I'm Casey Wilson, one of your co-hosts of the Do or Do Not podcast, and this is
Brad Erie.
Are you one of the co-hosts too?
It's been a while.
I was wondering. So, what have you been up to?
Chickens.
Oh, yeah?
We have chickens. I don't know. I know you've known about our chickens.
Oh, yeah, you told me about it.
But now they're big. They're not full-size chickens yet. They're not like the full adult chickens, but they're not the cute little chicks either. They're like in this strange looking baby dinosaur raptor looking things which run around now in our yard.
They're in their fucked up teen years.
They are. They're in their total teenage years. I hate you, Dad.
Yeah.
And it's been totally fun watching my kids try to understand what's going on. We don't know if they're crows, roosters, or hens. Is there people out there?
Yeah, he was like, we always got entertainment out here on the street.
You know, this is why we should do it more on the weekends, because I'm telling you, last weekend when I was here working out, it was a good time for ladies in cowboy boots.
I got to tell Brad earlier, I work here at the gym all week, and on the weekends I don't like to come into the gym. So
yeah,
but I'm here.
So what have you been doing other than making people cry, breaking wills? Have you missed me?
I actually did the Deca Strong last weekend.
Good, man.
That inspired me to really change my diet and get my shit in order.
Well, you have looked pretty fat lately.
I know. So I lost 6 pounds this week. I cut all sugar out of my diet.
Plus, not too bad.
You know, I do that sometimes anyway, but like I did all right at Deca Strong. It was like I wanted to do it in under 20 minutes, and it took me 22 minutes. It was my first time ever doing it.
Lazy SOB.
But it was all right for the first time, but I wasn't very happy with myself. I expected more out of myself, and I just didn't have a second gear. I was steady the whole time, but I couldn't pick my pace up. Like I could just feel myself. So I started pushing too hard on anything. My energy levels just started dropping. So plus it was early in the morning too. I was in the first wave at 8 a.m.
Wind was in your eyes.
It's not my favorite time to work out is early in the morning. I like late morning, early afternoon to work out, or in the afternoon. But it was fun. The people that put it on were awesome.
Yeah. Shout out.
So you have to get up.
DecaFit.
Well, actually, it was Fortitude Fitness.
Fortitude Fitness.
Affiliate for DecaFit down in Vacaville. They were really good. It was very professionally done. They had their stuff in order. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. Sarah went and she did it, and she did really good too. And so we had fun. We're thinking about going back and doing it the next time they do it in August or September.
All right.
And get my mile one in. Then I'm done with all my DecaFits. I've done all 3 of them. So then I just have to work on improving my time next year or sometime, whenever else I do.
The 2 listeners who may not know, Sarah is a beast. Shout out to Sarah.
Yep. Sarah is one of my clients and a running partner and a group class person, and she
really should be your co-host here. You like her way more than me. However,
that's not true.
I just want to point out that you may not notice.
She's better looking than you are.
Well, clearly, that's not saying a lot. I am down to 205 pounds. I've lost 11 pounds since we've done this.
Oh, yeah?
He never looks at me. You know, that the love is gone, people.
Well,
he used to say,
if Brad showed up for any workouts, then maybe I would see him. But since he doesn't show up for workouts.
I would like to say that it was my hard dedication to fitness that got me to this point. But really, I think I had a panic attack, which caused my whole body to revolt against me, and I just lost weight pretty quick. So I call that the Brad plan. It could be a little hard, a little sudden, effective.
Do what I did. Like I said, all right, I'm going to lose 15 pounds because I actually had gained weight. I didn't even realize I'd gained weight. And so I stepped on the scale last Monday, and I was 217.2, and I was like,
"You heavy?"
I was like, "Holy crap!" I was surprised because I didn't feel like I'd gained that much weight, but I just was really unhappy with my performance. So I said, "All right, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds." And I got on the scale, and I go, "No, I'm gonna lose 15 pounds."
Yeah,
and get into real good shape, like lean shape. So
the problem with
I was shocked on Friday when I stepped on the scale, and I was 211.6 or whatever, 211.6.
I think this is probably one of the only times I weigh less than you.
Yeah.
However, I will say
Yeah,
that
but you don't got any.
yeah, I
muscle.
will say our weight distribution is not as good. So like I do weigh less than you, and I have lost weight. However, like you're still way more fit. Like when I lose weight, I still look like skinny fat. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, like I've
You
gained
put
more muscle.
on. You put muscle on.
I have my wife.
Besides that divot you have in your shoulder.
Yeah, well, who needs two shoulders? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, really.
So
That's
no, you've done good. I mean, you got muscle on your body that you didn't have before.
oh, I know.
You know,
That's-
so I mean, you're way stronger.
That was
than
a
you were
low
before.
bar.
If your shoulder wasn't messed up,
I
you'd
know.
be doing really good.
I know.
Yep. So that's pretty much. I mean, I haven't been doing that much.
You're just working out. Like
Now I'm going to start trail running and stuff. I got up this morning and went out for a run, and then every weekend I'm going to try to get up, and for a few weeks here I'm just going to go up to Auburn.
That kills me.
I got up at 5:30. Like I woke up and I was wide awake at 5:15. I laid in bed and I go, all right, I should go. And I got up early and got it done early. I was in and out of there like quickly.
Don't you know you live my dream? So every morning I get up between 4:45 and 6:15 whenever my son gets up. It's Daddy, like, can you make me hot dogs? Daddy, can you whatever? All I dream about is being able just to wake up naturally. And yet you choose, like you could sleep into like 9:30, 10 if you wanted to on the weekend.
But
You choose to get up and
I'm
go
up
run.
every weekday morning at either 5 or 6. Depending, most days it's 5. A couple days, like 3 days a week,
Oh my gosh.
it's
So
5, and 2 days a week it's 6 because there's a couple days I don't have a 6 a.m. client. So I mean I have to get up early. So on the weekends I wake up early anyway. Like I just woke up. I stayed up late last night. I was watching The Last Kingdom. And I stayed up till like midnight, and then I went and lay down. I still woke up 5:30. You know,
I can relate to that.
Sometimes I'll just what I do
The
on the
fact that you
weekends.
choose to get up is that kills me.
Well, I stayed up later last night, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll sleep in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I woke up 5:30, and I was like, I hadn't decided if I was going to go run or not yet. I was going to see how I felt when I woke up in the morning. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go early because the sun goes up early now. So it's like, I hope no mountain lions were hanging out and stuff, you know, as it just turned dusk or whatever there.
I would feel sorry for the mountain lion.
The sun was just coming. Yeah, I'm pretty tough, but mountain lions are going to.
My money's on you, bro.
Yeah, if you give me a couple big knives, I might be able to survive with massive wounds on my body. Who knows?
All right,
But
before we
mountain
get
lions are no joke. Just think of what a freaking house cat.
a house cat would totally take me out.
No,
I've
throw
seen
that
some of
house
them.
cat 10 times and then you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know? So mountain lions are beasts. So that's the only thing I ever think about. Like apparently last year there was a bear on the trail when I was running. But I didn't see. I kind of noticed something out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
You know, up on the trail, but I just kept going. I thought it's probably just a stump or whatever.
Was this a bear as a
And
bear mammal, or is this
I run down the hill about 5 minutes, and this lady goes, "Oh, hey, did you see the bear?" And I was like, I stop and I go, "The bear?"
Did you say?
It was right off the trail.
I am the bear. I am a gay, hairy man.
I may be hairy, but I am gay.
All right.
So, but mountain lions are the only thing that really, I mean, bears are badass, but they usually are less aggressive. Like if you get a hungry mountain lion, but you know what? There's a lot of food to eat up there, so I'm not worried about them attacking you.
Much slower, fatter.
Usually it's if there's a scarcity of game and stuff, so only time you really have to worry, or if they have cubs or those type of things. I mean, I grew up hunting, so.
I do think we could both, me and you, in a room with the mountain lion, who wins? Do you think together we could take one out? No. Like if the mountain lion pounces on my throat, would you like get it in a headlock behind me and just like choke it out? Like if you would just let me be the rag doll while you.
Okay, you know how we'd win? If we had guns.
Oh, all right. Well, hey.
I mean,
these are guns.
So if a mountain lion focused on you and I had a couple knives in my hands, I could like stab him in its throat and its neck and try to kill it. But you're probably gonna die.
All right. So what about?
I might live, but you're probably.
How about me, you, and Sarah? Do you think the three of us, with our bare hands, take out a mountain lion?
Sarah's nonviolent.
Okay. All right. Well,
she would sit there and watch us both die, and then she would die afterwards.
And then she would outrun us.
Well, you know what? She is pretty quick. So.
All right. One last thing before we get started. Father's Day plans or grandfather's Day plans?
None. I don't know.
Nothing.
My kids don't do it. They'll like in the morning. They may like give me or my daughter when she gets up at noon.
That'll be over soon in a few months.
Yeah, she'll be up all night long. But
Yeah.
but yeah, you know.
Do you get a card? Do they?
My son usually doesn't even remember. My daughter today goes, I have to go to Target after I get off work because I dropped her off. She came over here with me because she works over at Old Town right there. And she goes, I got to go to Target after work to get you a Father's Day present. And I was just like, I was like, oh, thanks for sounding so excited because
she didn't ask you to pay.
She's not feeling good right now, so she's been not feeling very good.
That'll happen.
With that being said, she wasn't very happy about it. And then I'm like, oh, you sound really excited about that. She goes, well, I wouldn't even have known except I watched some TikToks and everybody's talking about Father's Day. I guarantee you my son doesn't remember.
Yeah.
Unless my daughter says something to him.
Kids.
He won't remember.
Yeah. Well.
And then he'll go, I'm sorry, Dad. Can I DoorDash something for you? I'm like, no, I'm eating no sugar, no DoorDash. I'm eating clean. I've been cooking all week long. I got steaks ready to go when I get home tonight.
Where's my invitation for these steaks, man? Yeah. Thought we're brothers.
Hey, you're lucky I came in on a Saturday.
I know. All right.
A couple of ribeyes marinating since yesterday. So.
My plans, my daughter is 9. She makes me my own carts. Very sweet. That's nice. I remember that. She could do a little bit better on the drawings. Like right now, she kind of makes me with a big head, like this massive gut. Not very good. I keep saying you could work a little harder.
Accurate.
A little harder, honey. Work on some details.
She's a nonfiction drawer.
Yeah. Like, come on. Throw some hair on me. Something. And she will try to make me a breakfast. That is a very scary thing because, she hasn't really nailed the salt versus sugar, different things. I don't know if my wife will put guardrails up and help. So I don't know what I'm going to get tomorrow.
She won't. She'll be like,
oh, no, my wife will be like, yeah.
You'll do good. You'll do good, sweetie. Dad'll like it.
Yeah.
Then you're getting the elf meal with spaghetti with
syrup. it's gonna be whatever. I don't know what I'm getting tomorrow morning. I've just told I can't leave the bed until the food comes. My son, he doesn't even know I'm around half the time. So that's my day is they will probably leave me alone for a while. My wife will take the kids out swimming or something, give me like 2 hours of peace, which I'll probably just come here anyways, because that's what I do. Like I live here on the weekends. So, but that's it. This is all you get to look forward to, people, when you have kids. Father's Day, Mother's Day, they get it right. Father's Day, I get a card.
Yeah, it seems like the mothers don't care.
Yeah, mothers are like, you know what? Try being a mother every day.
Even after I separated from my ex, and was getting a divorce and stuff, I would still buy presents for them to give, and she'd never do the same for me. And I was just after about 2 or 3 years, I remember I think it was like the 3rd year, I bought like a. We were at the like some type of like art fair, crafts fair, and there was birdhouses, and she liked birdhouses. She had a couple already, so I bought one for them to give to her for Mother's Day. And then a month later, nothing. Never one thing did she ever do, and it was like, and
that's why she's the ex,
because the kids would ask about it.
Yeah,
well, yeah, she's a piece of trash, but
tell us how you feel.
Not a piece of trash, but. Not
very, you could say it.
She was selfish. Let's say that.
All right.
She was a lot about herself. So anyway, after a while, I just stopped doing that too. So she didn't get anything for her birthday or Mother's Day either. I was like, hey, I'll be a good co-parent if you'll be a good co-parent. If you're not, that's how I work. I treat everybody with a lot of respect and kindness and generosity, unless they're being a piece of crap to me.
Unless their name is Brad, and then it's just all downhill.
Well, I always treat you like shit.
That's true. As much as snark I want to give you, you do set the parent bar pretty freaking high, and it's pretty annoying.
You know what I want to know is, this thing, it's not even very big, but you have straggly hair.
I do.
Is this just because you're married?
The grays because I'm married.
Look, I shaved mine this week. I even put some of that
just for men
looking stuff, just for men, where it colors it a little bit, so I don't have a completely gray. I was just looking in the mirror going, that goatee it was long, but it also is so gray.
Yeah.
And it just makes me look older. I was at the deck of Strong, and like we took some pictures. I'm looking, I'm like, I had a freaking, that thing makes the rest of my skin and everything. I look,
Yeah. You look young.
But the goatee was making me look really old, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna start like whatever it's called.
This is a face. This really is going to drive people to the YouTube. If you're only listening to this, the podcast, you really want to switch to YouTube. This face that I'm showing you today is the face of a man who's given up.
You got a radio face.
Yeah, I mean, I've been married for 22 years. I've been with my wife. At this point, she's stuck with what I have. Like there are times where I will clean myself up and I will shave. I didn't shave today. I didn't comb my or brush my little goatee.
It's the weekend. I never shave my head, anything.
Yeah, you should just come in here.
All right, we're doing a podcast, so I guess I better shave.
Why?
And then I see you're on the podcast. You're like, I just don't give a fuck anymore. I'm been
look, man,
have kids. I just don't care.
Look,
maybe like podcast listeners, or there's some ladies out there that just want to be nice to you and flirt with you because they think you have a good personality.
I have not been catcalled by the drunken cougars of downtown Roseville for weeks.
At least you get some cat calls. I mean,
oh my gosh!
Like with me, I don't have to worry about it. But because I don't go home to a married wife. But for you at least, it feels like a little ego boost.
Feel a little live.
But no, you come in here.
I know this is
for a couple. Well, that was probably a week you haven't shaved.
Yeah, hey, this is like 4 days of not shaving. Okay, I know.
The testosterone's not flowing through your body quite as.
Oh, it is.
Fervently.
I'm on a new testosterone supplement.
I have to shave. I know. I told you which one to get.
Yeah, I started taking 5 instead of 4, and I do feel a bit of a difference. But this is the face of me. Like, you know what? We have like 7 watchers, maybe 8 or 9, because I have befriended some people on Twitter.
Yeah.
Wikipedia, I'm calling you out. But this is the face of someone who's been married, man. I know it's been a while. This is it. This is the Saturday dad shaving for the birds.
Yeah,
face
with our millions,
except
Mom. You got to say and millions of followers that are not
billions
currently showing themselves up. They're watching
billions
in the shadows.
Did you? Okay, I know we've rambled on, but one last thing. When are you going to upgrade your Wi-Fi here so we can get this beautiful face of mine on 4K?
That's a good question because I called yesterday.
Oh.
And I have to send a service person out because I upgraded and it has to have a whole new box and modem.
Oh, man.
But it's 5 times better.
Oh, you're really going to see.
And I had to sign on for a year.
Really going to see the guns. Well, sorry, family. That's a year worth of podcasts that you're going to have to go forth.
It was fun. Like I asked him because like my lease is up at this location in December and who knows? I'll negotiate, but I'm also going to check out other places around town too. And look to see what's out there later this year. I go, can I transfer that? And they go, yeah. And I'm like, all right, sign me up for a year. Then it's either $99 or $79. I was like, give me the year.
Yes.
I only got to pay $120 if I cancel since it's under a year.
Now, when we go off about Kathleen Kennedy, she can really see our face.
See the anger in our face, how she screwed Star Wars up.
See the heat in my eye.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into.
Let's do it.
A subject that is near and dear to my heart. That has to do with what I do for a living. So, obesity in America.
I was a proud member.
Yep.
For a lot of years.
Yeah. You probably still are because of BMI. Oh, no, BMI, you said you were down.
Yeah. Now at 205, I am now in fit category, bro.
Yep. So, obesity in America, like back on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And let me say this. I never go to the mall. I am an introvert. I do not like being around lots of people. I'll go to concerts and stuff, and for big things, I'll go to, like a sporting events, like UFC events, those type of things. Yeah. I'll go, but I don't like going to the mall. I don't like going around a bunch of idiots, because if you have 10,000 people somewhere, there's probably at least 1,000 of them being an idiot.
I would rate it's probably a little higher at the mall, but yes.
At the mall, definitely. So I hadn't been to the mall, I was sitting there thinking about when is the last time I walked around the mall. I've been to the mall a couple times, like because I took my son for last August.
Yeah.
When that video game place opened at the mall.
Oh yeah.
And we just went in there, never went around the mall. And then another time I went to the Apple store a couple of years, like it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
So literally I have not walked the circumference of the mall in probably 4 years.
I just did that last week.
All right. So Mother's Day, we were taking my mom out to eat at Cheesecake Factory because shout out to my sister Jen. That was her idea because she said, I think mom really likes Cheesecake Factory. And I was like, all right, and that's where you want to go. All right.
Shout out, Jen.
Yeah. Well, guess what? My mom had only been there once. She didn't like it that much. I gave her, and guess what? She still had a gift card I gave her 2 Christmases ago for $50. She chipped in on Mother's Day because she goes, here, it was 50 or 100. I don't even remember what it was, but she had like a gift card. So we go to Cheesecake Factory. It's an hour wait. It's the Saturday before Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And they told us they couldn't give us a reservation. So we just said, we'll meet there. I'll get there early and whatever. So we had an hour. So my son, we go to the van store in the mall. We walk the whole circumference of the mall.
Yeah.
We come back. He goes in the van store. So I'm walking and I'm stunned by the level of obesity. Not like, oh, that person has a belly.
Yeah.
I saw people that were probably younger than me or my age. I'm 50 on scooters with fat hanging over. I saw people on several occasions doing up against the railing. Yeah. And just the only people that were probably not overweight or obese in general were younger people. And a lot of them were overweight too. Yep. So in general, I'm sitting there just like I start noticing and it just becomes so apparent to me. It's like there is like seriously obese people. I mean, all around me. Yeah. And I'm looking around and we're talking like 400. I saw multiple 400 pounders and I can judge weight pretty easily. Maybe they were 385, but I was just sitting there going, oh my God.
And can I just say something? And this is a mall in California. Now, if you went to a mall in Ohio in the Midwest, it would rock your world, the level of obesity over there.
I mean, this Roseville, the Galleria attracts people from all over the Sacramento area. It's probably the best mall in
its whole area. Yeah.
But in Roseville has a gym on every corner almost. Yeah. Trust me, I know. I'm in the business. I mean, there's a lot of competition, but there's
But just comparing California to Midwest people, there is a big gap.
It was shocking to me, and it made me start really thinking about it. So it's on my mind for several days, and then I saw this. Somebody was doing like a segment on one of the shows I watched, and they talked about obesity in America, and they were talking about vegetable oils and seed oils, and I was like, all right. And I watched this, and it just got me thinking, man. I'm a frontline person on the fight against obesity and health. So for 22 years, I've been doing this. I've been helping people get healthy that are out of shape, people that are obese, get them lean. These are all things I've been doing for 22 years. I've helped a lot of people. But I'm one man. I mean, let's say like I was figuring out a few years ago, I'd helped like 470 clients at that time, probably over 500 now. So with that being said,
I'm his favorite.
Actually, you are probably one of my favorites, like over the years. Yeah, I have some favorites, but you're one of them. And then also, I've been in this 22 years. I managed a big gym. I started off as a trainer, then I became a manager, and I managed training staffs too and helped young trainers. So I used to oversee all of their programming, how they got people healthy and help them become good trainers. So then you add in hundreds and hundreds of more. So in general, and I've given tons of advice to people. I've helped people, who aren't my clients. So I've helped a lot of people, and I'm one man, and I can only help so many, even in 22 years. So then I started thinking about, man, why are we getting so obese? And I know some of the answers, but then when I started really digging in, so I typed in obesity in America. So it takes you to like the CDC is one of the sites. So I got on the CDC and I was looking. So here's some numbers to think about that I got from the CDC website. In 1999, 2000, the obesity rate in America was 30.1%.
Wow.
Okay, so that's pretty high, right?
You would think.
Yeah. Guess what it is now?
57%.
41.9%
Whoa.
in 2019 or 2020, 2021 when they redid it. They did it, but that's the comparison in a 20-year difference. That's almost 12% higher.
I blame Arby's.
Yeah, and just think that was in 2021. We've got a couple more years since then.
Yeah. What do you
And
think it'll be in
COVID
2030?
accelerated a lot of it
Oh,
because
yeah.
people stayed home. It became even more sedentary. So it really got me thinking. And then also another great stat that the CDC had was you think about how much we have to pay in medical bills. So it's a big problem. You know, you go to the doctor or you pay for insurance. It costs a ton of money. And you go, well, why in a country like the United States are we having to spend so much money on medical bills? We're a free country. Part of that is because we're free and we're allowed to do what we want to do, which is eat a bunch of crappy food and not do anything. But an average person who's obese pays $1,861 more a year in medical costs.
But the fatty foods are so good.
They are. And this is what we're going to get into is
Oh my
why
gosh.
we're obese. You know, it's not the fatty foods as much.
Really?
It's many different subjects. And there's so many that when I started doing this, I had to narrow down what I was going to focus on
Yeah.
in this podcast. And then I'm going to do a little TED talk for my mastermind group. And I was like, oh, well, what am I going to focus on? Well, we're going to focus on some major topics about why people, and a lot of people are going to go, yeah, of course, common things. So first is sedentary lifestyle.
There's so many good TV shows on now, man.
I'll be honest, I love watching TV and movies.
How can I binge all the Star Wars TV shows, Marvel TV shows, Star Trek TV shows, sci-fi TV shows, and work out at the same time?
Well, you can listen on your headphones while you're working out to Audible, to podcasts, to those kind of things.
The
But
Do or Do Not podcast, perhaps?
that would be a great one. So not just leisure time, because
Okay.
leisure time, people have gotten way more sedentary. Think about
Yeah.
our kids. I didn't even really want to get in. I'm not going to get into like the kids' obesity rates and stuff, how much they've come up and stuff. And then there's minority, communities have higher, rates of obesity, but just an overall idea. But think about what our kids are doing. My son is one of them.
Yeah.
So I know this for a fact is I grew up playing sports year round.
Yeah.
Played football. Then I went right into wrestling season. Then I went right into baseball season and track season. I ran track and did baseball at the same time. The coaches worked out a deal so I could do it. So I got a letter in both of them. So it was great.
Humble brag.
I had letters in 4 sports, 4 varsity letters, junior and senior year. Humble brag.
That is.
Then again, I went to a tiny small school, so it's not saying that much. Nowadays, that nobody would do that because they go to big schools and they focus on one particular athletic event, maybe 2 at the most. But you're either going to be a football player, a baseball player, a golfer, a swimmer. You're going to focus only on what thing you're probably the best at. I probably would have focused on baseball. That was what I was probably best
You would
at.
have hired like professional baseball.
I would have hired
camps.
guys like me.
Yeah,
I train
you
a lot
would
of
have
young
done
athletes
cutting
to
edge
get
and
better at different sports, just improve sport
Yeah.
performance. So with that being said, now what are our kids doing? They got virtual reality goggles on. They're on their laptop playing D&D like my son does. They don't want to work out. You know what gets my son out the most?
buying more games.
And my son's almost 19.
Okay.
Pokemon Go. They go walk down to the park and go on these long walks because they're getting Pokemon. But they're still on their phone.
Whatever
They're
it
gonna get
takes.
phone. You know, like they're not going out. And like,
Yeah.
in this, there's no universalisms here. There's young kids that like to go out and run or hike
Yeah.
and do those things, but they're becoming fewer and far in between.
Your
So-
son should come and try to chase my chickens.
Yeah.
Like try to
My
put him
son-
back in the pen.
My son is an independent person and he pays me rent now and he does what he does.
Such
I
good
encourage
stories.
him all the time to come to the gym. I encourage him to eat better.
Yeah.
But he gets to, just like all the other Americans, he gets to do what he wants to do. So, and what a lot of people want to do is sit on their ass.
Yeah.
Also think about their jobs. This is the bigger deal.
Yeah.
We used to have a workforce that was based in activity. You were building buildings, farming, digging
Trades.
ditches,
Fixing electrical stuff.
working in warehouses,
Yeah.
where you were moving around and stuff. Even like I worked at a grocery store and you were on your feet 8 to 10 hours a day and you were like moving stuff around and active. You were at least active. And nowadays there's still those jobs, but they're fewer and far in between. And there's a lot of sedentary jobs where you're just sitting all day.
Yeah.
Most of my clients sit a majority of the day. And if you sit the majority of the day, you have a sedentary lifestyle. Then you go home and you sit some more.
To watch those good
Or
shows.
you work at home, then you go directly from your seat in front of your computer to your seat in front of the TV. How many calories are you going to burn every day just being alive? What is your basal metabolic rate going to be? Pretty damn low.
I'm so jealous of that, though.
Yes, I am not. I do sit and watch my share of TV and some sports and listen to a lot of podcasts, but I also do stuff too. I put my AirPods in, I do cardio, I listen to books, Star Wars books specifically. But there's those things we do. So we've got a sedentary lifestyle in this country now. People are not burning very many calories. They're not active. They're not getting stuff done. That's number one. Number two, sugar intake.
Oh, my favorite.
My favorite too. I love sweets. I can eat healthy meals almost every meal. I like some pizza every once in a while.
How do you eat a sugar-free? Because sugar is everywhere.
I'm talking about added sugar.
Oh, okay.
Like sugar that comes added in pre-made stuff.
Got it. Okay.
And so like they want to make it taste better, so they're adding sugar to it. So there's natural sugars out there. So you could, and this is what I found very interesting. So people talk about sugars all the time and they go, you shouldn't eat rice.
Yeah.
You shouldn't eat potatoes. You shouldn't eat, sweet potatoes. All these healthy things. You shouldn't eat pasta. Maybe you shouldn't eat pasta, but or you should moderate it or have whole. There's different things about it. But what really is happening is people are eating a lot of added sugar into things. So think about added sugar. Let's say teaspoons. That's what the CDC uses. They say an average American should eat 12 teaspoons of sugar a day.
Yeah. That seems like a lot.
That's what they say we should do if we're on a 2,000 calorie diet.
Yeah.
And the average American eats 17 teaspoons a day. I say to you, I don't believe the CDC studies and numbers that the average American eats 17, because guess how many teaspoons are in one soda?
How many?
10 teaspoons of sugar in one soda.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me in the United States of America, the average person's eating 17 grams when the average thing of a soda is 10? Gatorade, 20-ounce Gatorade, how many teaspoons of sugar do you think it has in it?
I have no idea. I would say
7 teaspoons because you're too slow.
Wow. Because I've drank several of those in a day, just in the same sitting.
And that's not talking about food.
Yeah.
Snacks. Let's say you have a candy bar and a soda. You're over your level already for the day.
Oh, you're making me hungry. But yes. Okay, I get it. So, okay.
So I would tell you it's probably closer to have there's people eat really healthy. This week, I ate very little sugar. I cut it out of my diet because I am a sugar eater. And let me tell you, there's been some nights where I'm sitting there going, woo, I need some fucking sugar. I'm like, I pull up the DoorDash app and I go, I should just order a couple things, not a bunch, just 1 or 2 things. Then I'm like, nope, not doing it. And the payoff this week was 5.8 pounds I lost. So I was like, okay,
now
there you go.
So the 5.8 pounds.
And I work out a lot. Guess what? You can't outwork your diet. If you eat like crap, you may be fit, but you cannot outwork your diet. You cannot lose weight significantly if you eat like shit.
I've tried.
So, and I eat pretty healthy. I cook a lot of meals, especially on the weekends. I food prep, but I like sweets. And I'd love to have this cookie or this cupcake or this candy bar.
And no cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory?
I'll have a soda every once. I don't like cheesecake, so that doesn't hurt.
What about aspartame? Is that how you say it? Because I like diet soda.
Don't sidetrack away from sugar. So sugar's a huge deal in our diet.
Sugar.
There's been a few other studies I was reading. They weren't from the CDC, but there were a few other studies that were talking about that since 1920 to 2020, the average kid in the United States eats 100 times more sugar than they did in 1920. Guess what people look like in 1920?
Fit, thin, wiry.
The person that has a little tiny bit of a gut, they were like the fattest man on the block. I mean, most people were thin.
They died in their 30s.
They definitely died at a younger age, but not always.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, you know what? My grandma is 98 years old.
That's
Guess
true.
what? She was alive back then. So
that's true. I take it back, Grandma.
That being said, is we're eating so much sugar, and who do you think is putting all this added sugar into everything?
Big Pharma?
Big food.
Oh, That was close.
But
It was big
food,
something.
big food and big pharma, a lot of those companies are commingling. They're working together. They're either owned by the parent company.
Plotted the people.
So
good though.
You got all these great TV shows. You sit on your ass.
Eating
Spend money
Pop-Tarts.
on all these streaming services. It used to be Dish and and DirecTV and Comcast. Now you're paying on all these streaming services, and you're ordering from DoorDash, and you're going into the grocery store and buying all this crap because it tastes really good. You think sugar is addictive?
Oh yeah,
it is. It's a drug.
I am so addicted to it.
I was fiending this week.
Have you ever had when I was in a hospital? They were like, "Do you have caffeine withdrawal?" Because they asked me how many sodas do you drink, and I was like, "Oh, I drank so many sodas," and they're like, "Oh."
Back when you were
when I was obese.
Yeah.
When I had my leg operated on, I was complaining of the headache. They're like, "Oh, you're probably having caffeine withdrawal."
Yeah.
And they gave me a treatment for it. Oh yeah. I'm sure you get a sugar withdrawal.
There's all kinds of stuff that now Big Pharma is taking advantage of this and going, "We got Ozempic. We got these things we're going to give you, and this is a magic drug. You're going to lose a bunch of weight, Brad."
That's really how I lost the weight, guys.
Maybe you should stop eating so much freaking sugar. I was upset about finishing 2 minutes slower than I thought I should have finished in a race, and I cut all sugar out of my diet. Am I fat and obese?
No, you weren't fat and obese before.
I was pissed. If I was fat and obese,
you'd be happy.
What the hell? I mean, obviously I'm a trainer, but you got to have some discipline in your life, and you got to understand that sugar is a drug, and you will fiend for it. It takes you. I'm gonna give you a quick tip. It takes about 14 to 21 days of not eating sugar to cleanse it from your palate, and you won't crave it as badly. Same with the caffeine. And stuff. If you can get through, it's a withdrawal. You're gonna suffer withdrawals from it. I crave sugar. I even have these little hard candies that are very low in calories that I'll pop in, or I'll chew a lot of gum right now because I'm just fiending, so I need something.
I do a lot of gum.
I'm sitting there on the couch, putting my foot down, going, I really want to order something.
Oh, yes.
And making sure I'm eating a little extra at dinner just because that extra meat will make me not crave sugar as much. But with that being said, you can lose over almost 6 pounds I lost this week just cutting sugar out of my diet.
That is crazy. So I am more of a fat guy. When I get hungry,
you're sidetracking us from.
I know. I'm just saying it's easier for me.
That's not on the topic.
All right. Well, sorry. I'm just saying
because fat is not as bad as what.
It's harder for me to give up fatty, salty foods than it is sugar.
Remember I was saying I had to narrow this down.
All right. Sorry. I'm just trying to say.
So we're not going to get sidetracked on fat.
Or
there's a
Kathleen
whole talk
Kennedy.
I can do on fat in some of these studies I'm reading.
All right. Well, I'll be there for that one.
So anyway, that was sugar. So that was something I knew already.
Okay.
But I didn't really realize how much
sugar that we ate,
like the average Americans are. And I read some stuff that isn't they're studies from people that have done them who aren't. Unfortunately, 80% of all studies done on food and sugar and nutrition are done by Big Food.
Yeah. And they're all
actually, I think it was 88%.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Are all sugars essentially the same?
No.
So if I go and I want raw sugar, sugar in the raw, that's what my wife gets, organic sugar.
It's still sugar.
Or do you want Activia sugar? Or do you want sugar in the fruit? When you're saying sugar, are you saying
sucrose, dextrose, table sugar, syrup, honey,
fructose,
all these things?
Syrup.
All of them are sugar. So what it is a lot of foods have sugar naturally in them. You got fructose, which is coming from fruit.
Yeah.
What you don't want is all these processed foods that they add sugar into it to make it taste better.
Okay. So
they have a higher sugar. So it's a lot of it's processed stuff.
Got it.
But it's also, let's say you can make a really good tasting food. Let's say this place has really good muffins, but they're not quite as sweet.
Yeah.
Because they're, trying to make them with the right amount of sugar and not over sugar it. But you go to Pillsbury, it's going to have double the sugar in it because they want you to come back and buy it again because it's so sweet and tastes so good.
It does taste good.
So that's the thing about added sugar. There's added sugar in so much stuff. And that's what the big problem with bumping our numbers up. Not from eating. Should you sit and eat a whole watermelon? No, you're going to get a bunch of sugar from that too.
Yeah.
But you can eat fruits and vegetables because there's other benefits. There's other minerals and vitamins in it. Okay. And so there's good things about them. But do you want to overeat fruit? No. And So there's different types of sugars. There's bad stuff. Even
Yeah.
like maple syrup.
Love it.
So do you think the maple syrup you buy is the stuff that comes out of the tree?
No, I've had the stuff comes out of the tree.
Yeah.
It is not nearly as sweet and delicious
There you
as
go.
what you get.
Because they added a bunch of sugar to this.
But it tastes so good.
But it tastes so good.
Like I've had like, here is like real maple syrup straight from the tree. And I'm like, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. Poured it on my little waffle. You're right.
There's a type, I can't think of the name right now, of maple syrup I buy, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
And so every once in a while my kids will use it, and I'll yell at them and cuss them out because I go, that's $18 for this little tiny bottle.
Yeah.
But it has
like
a
real
third of the sugar. It's real, but it still tastes sweet and good.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste horrible. It doesn't taste like I've had like stuff that's like, oh, untreated, straight from the tree type stuff, and you go, I'd rather not. I don't think that tastes very good. So there's a taste thing, just like
little hint of bark.
Like, you want stuff to taste good, or else then you don't want to eat it if you're not. But I had, the stuff, and it's like a third of the sugar of what I'd be doing if I was pouring some log cabin over my thing.
Yeah,
so this is the sugar I'm talking about. Yeah,
I'm addicted to that type of sweetness. That's what I'm saying. Like when I have like natural stuff that's naturally sweet, I'm like, it could use a lot of processed sugar in there.
Yeah, but that's what you don't want, because
I know.
That's what gets you back up to 300
It's the good
pounds.
things.
So,
you know what I think?
Sugar. No more sugar talk.
Oh, I was gonna say you should make this a multi-part.
Well, this is what I'm saying, though, is because if you try to sidetrack.
No, I think you should be like.
This is going to be a full episode.
All right, then hit me. All right, no more sugar, because I have so many more sugar questions.
So sugar is pretty common. A lot of people know about sugar. They've heard about stuff. There's lots of studies on sugar.
Pour some sugar on me.
What do you think about vegetable and seed oils?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No idea.
Then you won't interrupt me.
Is olive oil better?
Yes.
All right. We use olive oil in my house because my wife tells me to. That's all I know.
Your wife is smart. She's a smart one of you two.
Grilled cheese, put a little olive oil on.
Star Wars quiz, she would have figured out some of those things.
No way.
She would have got 10 out of 20 instead of 9 out of 20.
She would have called you a nerd and walked out. That's what she would have done.
All right, so vegetable oils and seed oils.
All right, I'm just going to be quiet because I don't know anything.
This is something that I've really learned a lot about over the last month.
I'm just going to turn this.
I've read multiple studies and articles, and I've watched videos for people, and this is not me creating this stuff. I'm just regurgitating what other people have said in my own words. But vegetable and seed oil. So how do you make it? Yes.
Take a bunch of vegetables and just squeeze them.
There's really hard ways to get vegetable seed oils. Right. You have pressing, crushing, and using chemical solvents, which is what most of the big food companies use.
That would have been my preferred method.
Which, does that sound healthy?
It sounds.
There's actually apparently bottles that say no chemical solvent. See, like this was not done in this chemical, and that's the healthy ones. All right, so that's 100 years ago, as long as this has been going on. Vegetable and seed oil really didn't start happening until about 100 years ago. So this is something new in our society. And what really got me thinking after this Mother's Day visit to the mall, and then I started digging into this, is I saw a guy do, and I have this chart. I can send it to you, so if you want to put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
It'll be up on the screen.
Somewhere.
But it's a chart that shows
over his face
obesity in America, and then vegetable oil in America being used.
Yeah.
And the lines go up together. Not sugar.
Yeah.
But vegetable oils and seed oils and obesity rates going up together. So then you go, well, that's weird. Why are they both, the use of them and obesity is going up? Well, why is that happening? So most seed oils have what's called omega-6 linoleic acid. Omega-3 too, but omega-6 is the one that they really focus on.
I'll take your word.
Stuff. Guess what omega-6 linoleic acid does?
Is that the Kathleen Kennedy of...
Pretty much.
Okay.
That is the Kathleen Kennedy of obesity. It creates a toxin, an obesogenic toxin in your body that's called HNE, or hydroxynonol
Put on the glasses.
4-hydroxynonol.
Easy for you to say.
What this does is, here, I'll read it exactly from it. Linoleic acid sensitizes fat cells to the fat-storing hormone insulin. I thought insulin had to do with just sugar, right? It does not have just to do with that. Linoleic acid also activates the body's CBI receptors.
Obviously.
Cannabinoid receptors.
Clearly. Who doesn't know that?
So here's what 2 things it does.
Okay.
Linoleic acid, this is what happens when you eat it.
All right.
And if you eat too much of it, which CDC says you should not eat too much of it, but they're not against it. And most doctors will tell you, eat some canola, start eating stuff with canola oil. Okay. Guess what's one of the worst? Canola oil.
Big canola companies.
Doctors are telling people to do this. So,
freaking doctors.
Like, it's interesting to read is a lot of the stuff, and we'll go over that of ways that we can, at the end of this, I give some ideas how we can fix this. Not that I really think it's ever going to be fixed, but hey, you got to try. You got to put it out there. Everybody who listens to this might find, remember, you can't work your way out.
Oh,
now,
dang
should you do burpees? Hell yes, that's the fitness aspect of it and the lack of sedentary lifestyle. So cannabinoids receptors interfere with hunger signals.
Cannabinoids.
So let's say you're eating a food that doesn't have vegetable oil in it. Your body gets a full signal, or it gets a not full signal, usually from eating your food, right?
I usually never get the not full.
If it interferes with them, you could also feel hungry sooner, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, it interferes with your hunger signals. And also, so think about that. It interferes with hunger signals. So maybe you're going, well, I'm not full yet. Let me eat more. Which we'll get into the next thing after vegetable oils is caloric surplus.
Is that Asian food?
Serving sizes. So let's say this chemical causes multiple things to go on in your body, but the main thing is it makes you feel not full. It also releases obesogenic toxins, which lead to eating more food.
Oh, yeah.
Then all of a sudden, your shut-off doesn't happen in your body naturally.
Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of other. So this is all like very specific.
Do you think that they knew this on purpose? Be like, look, this here, like there's some evil boardroom under a lava mountain
off that way 100 years ago.
Of like this table of corporate CEOs. And they're like, all right, guys. They're like one guy stroking a kitten, and be like, all right.
I think that nowadays,
we need to find an oil.
Remember, these big food companies, what do the people that are running them get judged on?
Profits.
There you go. So if you're eating a ton of this food and people are addicted to it and craving it and wanting more of it and wanting more of it, are you going to keep giving them more and more?
Absolutely. And I got to make a confession. When I was beginning in my graphic artist work, I worked for this firm, and our biggest company was PepsiCo. And we did a lot of internal videos of stuff that like people would never see or hear, but it was like from one office to another office. And the amount of money that they will look. And PepsiCo, for people who don't know, they own probably 50% of every food item out there in the thing. Like they lost the battle to Coca-Cola. And so they said, all right, well, we'll never beat Coca-Cola. But what we'll do is we'll buy like Nebraska or all these other food things, and we'll dominate the cereal. Kellogg's
that now is buying pharmaceutical companies.
Yes, so they
companies,
own,
or they're buying the pharmaceuticals.
Yes,
they're commingling.
If there was a pyramid, it would be like PepsiCo at the top, and then like 7,000 brands below them that you would not believe that owned by PepsiCo. But anyways, my point is,
here's the thing: do I think that these companies, when it started, when they were making vegetable oils, do I think that they said, "Oh, this is a great moneymaker"? No. But do I think that is what's happening in the last
that was my
30
point
or 40 years?
I think they're saying, look, we need to up these oils because our profit margins on this
vegetable
are going
oils.
up.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of money.
So people go, let's be clear about what vegetable and seed oils. They're not just what you're cooking with, like you pour some in a pan and you fry some stuff up, right? These are included in like anything that comes in a box that has a list of ingredients. Start looking for those weird words.
Makes me so depressed.
canola, da 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 da, and then these are all included in everything. So then this effect is I'm not full. I need more. So this is what I say at the holidays every year before my clients leave, and that week before I go, hey, you know what? Eat food, but have one plate. Have one plate of Thanksgiving dinner. Have one dessert. Moderate yourself. Do I always do that? I'm pretty good about it. Desserts, I might.
Damn
have
it, man! I get
desserts
2 days out of the year to eat.
But here's the deal: is people eat way too much food.
Yeah.
So you got these vegetable oils, and they have other effects on your body.
I hear if you throw it all up right afterward, it does no harm. Do you know
that animals like bears and stuff start craving? They have a chemical reaction where they start craving linoleic acid before they go into hibernation. Like different hibernating animals start craving, they start looking to eat foods that have vegetable oil in it. So they start eating vegetables. They start eating fruits. They start eating things that are going to give them that fattening up.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? When you eat linoleic acid, if you're a bear, you're going to keep eating. You're never going to get full. So then you're going to keep eating. It was an interesting study I read, and they said hibernating animals start eating, changing eating patterns before they hibernate. They want to fatten up, but what allows them to fatten up?
Maybe I am a bear.
Maybe you are. It was just one of those little side notes I thought was really
interesting.
That is pretty cool.
I had no idea.
Some studies done on like animals and their diets and when they're going to hibernate.
I'm going to switch to educational when I post this podcast. I'm going to mark it from entertainment to educational. How about that? You're dropping some truth bombs.
But the vegetable oil thing really, if you dig into it, just go on YouTube and type in vegetable oil and obesity, and you'll get videos popping up. And there's some really knowledgeable. Hey, I'm a trainer. I'm a pretty smart guy. I can understand a lot of the information given, but these are people that are actually really into this. They're doctors, scientists, journalists that are have background, in nutrition and health, and they're just like going, hey, this is why we have obesity in America. This is why we're over 40% obesity in the United States now, and it's going to get worse. So, like I always tell people, I go, you watch the Disney movie WALL-E? Sedentary lifestyle, not doing hardly anything. Everything's done for you by droids.
Am I the only one that was looking forward that just floating on this thing with a big gulp and a burger?
I want to buy a cabin up in the mountains and
around
be away from everybody and not be around all these idiots and be out hiking and hunting for my own food every day.
I was looking at WALL-E thinking, this sounds like a good life to me, man.
No, that's what we're headed towards.
Sign me up.
So do I think there's a cabal in the food industry yet now? Yes. And they know what's going to fatten America up. And they know also it causes obesity. And then what our good buddies over here at Big Pharma that our parent company also owns has these new drugs that are going to make you skinny.
I just to put a point on the big food companies, I was involved in a meeting where they were spending, meaning the people of Pepsi, whittling it down to Mountain Dew, were spending, I think if I remember correctly, probably $15 to $20 million on marketing how red to make the new cherry red Mountain Dew. Is it too red? Is it not red enough? How much sugar can we put in there before it gets this way? And that's just the color. Like there's not one little thing that comes out of those companies that they don't.
As we go into talk about the food pyramid and all the things, everything is, all the studies are being paid for by big food. What do you think that they're going to show you on those studies? If you take statistics, if they gave their internal statistics of what they're doing,
which I've seen some,
it is going to be heinous. But you know what? I'd like to say people would care.
Yeah.
I just don't think a lot of Americans care.
No one cares.
And you could stand here in this window, which I do. I train clients. I'm here all day, and obese person after obese person walks past her.
Except for Thursday nights, late, when the cougars come out and party.
Hot, tan, blonde cougars.
Oh, boy. Some of them have had rough lives, but hey, that's another
they whistled at you, so
some did. Got cat called.
But you just see people that are overweight all day long, and it really is reading these articles and watching these videos and doing this where I'm like going, it really opens your eyes up to what's really going on, which is another thing that's got me going, I'm not going to eat any damn sugar. I'm tired. I mean, I love sweets, My mom had a candy making business. I mean, she made, and I grew
She was
up
part of the
eating that
evil
stuff
empire.
before she even started. But
Your mom was part of the evil empire.
I tell you, but like she made great stuff. I grew up eating sweets, probably why
Yeah.
I love them, and so I do like. I'm still going to eat sweets. I'm just going to make it a very tiny amount and on a very irregular basis because as I'm getting older, it's harder to lose weight.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost a chunk of weight this week, but that was mostly just
Yeah.
I mean, I noticed the difference. I was like, I think I'm feeling lighter. I'm going to step on the scale on Friday. And I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
But that was the initial phase of like, all right, I starved my body and there were some days where I ate 1,280 calories because it was pretty much all meat and a few vegetables here and there.
Nothing wrong with that.
So with that being said is these companies, I think that there's definitely.
Oh, there is.
They want their profits to keep getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So you got to sell more and more of it. You got to make it, but they're looking for chemicals to give you to make you even fatter, to crave this stuff more. So you're gonna eat more of it, and then you'll get fatter and more addicted to stuff. If they could find a new magic one that made everybody like go, oh, I gotta have it. My mouth's drooling. Like,
oh
all
yeah,
the crazy stuff that happened. Remember Popeye's chicken? Their chicken sandwich is the best. People are fighting in drive-through lines in restaurants.
Hey,
to get
you know
their
what?
Chicken sandwich.
Careful treading. I am a Popeyes fanatic. I haven't had it since.
Just an example.
I've lost
of
years.
One of those things.
I'm waiting.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things where they're always trying to create the next fad. Thing. And then they're going to give you medications that are going to cause you to lose weight now. Oh, this is a nice circle of business, isn't it? Oh, we'll make you fat. Oh, we'll make you skinny. We'll make you fat. And then the profits are just going through the roof. But Americans are suffering. Our medical system is struggling to keep up with it. And then the cost of medical issues, problems go up in this country because of obesity. It's not because we have a bunch of drug users. Are those people that happen in our world? Yes. Obesity is a way, way bigger epidemic than COVID ever was.
Than all of it combined.
Than fentanyl ever was.
Yep.
Obesity is the biggest thing killing this country. Ask the military how hard it is to get healthy, young, fit people that want to go in the military, that actually will qualify. They've had to change their standards to get people in the military.
And because of that, if we're fighting the Chinese, guess who's going to get drafted?
I'm going to go hide in the mountains. No, I will end up dying on the front lines because they're the only ones that have. Because all these kids will be running the other way in their VR headsets.
I will be gaining so much weight.
There's still some great, fit, healthy people out there, but the problem is they're getting to that's shrinking.
Yeah,
and it's because of our food business. And I'm not saying that we can just fix it all of a sudden. I don't think it's fixable per se unless you had a huge change. So the last subject we'll talk about is.
I think you should save it for another podcast.
This is part of the.
We can because there's so much I want to add.
I'm sure. So caloric surplus.
Fine. Hit me with the caloric surplus.
This is a complete talk about this and general ideas, but complete
all
talk.
Right.
Caloric surplus and dietary fiber.
My favorite two things to talk about.
Look at your packages.
Dietary fiber.
They're high in fiber. Look at them and see if they say dietary fiber on it. So what also the big food companies is they started going, people like stuff that doesn't have dietary fiber in it. Just like rice. You know the little rice thing? It has a husk that goes on it, right?
Yeah.
They got rid of all those and they go, oh, they're toxic. They have lectins in it. You'd have to eat so many of them have had lectins in it. But anyway, they started getting rid of all this dietary fiber out of diets because it tastes better. And then we need dietary fiber. We need it in our diet. At least 25 grams a day, but you should probably eat more. That's like their recommendations. Anytime the government recommends anything, probably eat more of it, except for sugar.
I like my fiber with sugar.
So we're eating these huge serving sizes. So if you go to a restaurant, when I go to eat out, that's 2 meals for me, sometimes 3 meals. Like one of my favorite restaurants to go to is Lucille's.
Love it.
I'll get a rack of ribs, 2 sides, and that's 3 meals for me. Sometimes I'm really hungry, maybe 2. But the serving size, there's people.
The rules.
If you go into Lucille's, there's people, their bellies are up on the table and they're just going to town and eating that whole plate. And then they're like, bring over to the dessert.
Well, when you get
they eat a whole rack of ribs. 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 sides, and then they're wondering, they're sidling out like this, trying to get down the stairs. I went there for my 50th birthday, and I saw this guy going down the stairs, and he had to go like this because he was so obese. But he just probably ate 3,000 to 3,500 calories in one meal.
That's awesome. So, have you ever gone out to eat in Europe? Like, I toured Europe when I first got engaged with my wife.
I'm an American.
Yeah, and they give you 2 menus. They give you the European menu, and then they give you the American menu. Oh, and you ask what the difference is. True
That's good
story.
Information, Brad. I did not have.
Yeah, they will. Oh, the proportions. We'll give you the American proportions.
Yeah,
and I'm like, hit me,
the problem
because I was obese then, and I'm like, dude, give me the American proportion.
Now we can say vegetable oil is the problem, or other chemicals put into stuff that will cause HNE to be produced in your body, which will
cause the guy
it to mess with your
at Lucille's to be like, give me more of those delicious cinnamon or those rolls with that cinnamon butter, apple butter. Oh my gosh!
I'll have one of those when I go in.
And then give me the triple thing: ribs, chicken, and tri-tips.
Every time I go in now, because I just know I don't go there very often, so I get a rack of ribs, 2 sides, and that is 2 or 3 meals for me. That's because I don't eat big meals. It's what's always kept me, I think, lean is I eat what I should eat. My problem is the only thing that ever caused me to put weight on, like I'd be shredded at like 6 to 8% body fat all the time if I didn't eat sweets, because I eat healthy food. In general, my meals are pretty healthy. I hardly ever eat sweets. I like sugars. Salt and fats. That's why people, when they stop eating bread, they start losing weight, because guess what? There's a lot of vegetable oil in bread.
A lot of sugar in bread.
Oils and stuff. So you see these breads that are all healthy, and they're like, oh, we're super healthy, and they're covered in sunflower seeds and all this other stuff. And then they also cook seed oil into it, and then they think they're healthy. But most of those people that are eating it probably don't really look at the label, and they go, oh, well, what's this?
Making me hungry now.
So anyway, caloric
intake.
Sorry
for that loud burst.
Caloric intake is very important to losing weight. So when I talk to people, we try to find their basal metabolic rate. Basically, how many calories they burn each day being alive. And then we want to create a deficit to help them lose weight. That's what I do for a living, is I help a lot of people lose weight. So we want to create a deficit. Working out, by the end of the week, if you're worked out 5-6 days a week, or even 4 days, and let's say you worked out really hard, then you have maybe a 2,000, 2,500 calorie extra deficit because you worked out really hard. But you got to do it through food, because if you don't, you won't lose much weight.
I learned that the hard way. So
nutrition is important. We at this country are mostly at a caloric surplus, meaning we're eating way too many calories. It's serving size.
Oh, yeah.
You got to eat to satiety when you're satisfied. But a lot of these, now we're finding out that these companies want us are giving us foods that are causing us to get
more.
those satiety symbols or the signals in our body.
Yeah.
So you got satiety is just being satisfied with the food you ate. You go, oh, I'm full. I don't need any more.
All right.
Then you go, put this, and I'll eat more of it later. In 4 or 5 hours or 3 hours, I'll eat a little bit more of it, and then I'll eat a little bit more of it, and then that's it. That's how you lose weight. It's that simple. It's not low carbs. So let's get into dietary fiber. But before I do that, let's get into carbs, because people are very concerned with carbs.
Carbs.
So this is something I
carb free, low carbs.
This is something I missed on the vegetable oil thing, so I forgot to talk
paleo.
About this. So there's a couple studies I read, and they went over people who don't have vegetable oil on their diets. And one other thing, I don't have this stuff memorized.
Yeah.
So I'm still working.
Just free form it. This is a run through.
So every society that started eating vegetable oils, obesity rate has went up.
Yeah.
Every Western society started cooking with vegetable oil in it has went up. Now there's societies like the Japanese society, 84% of their diet has rice in it.
Yeah.
Is rice.
And they live to be 500 years old.
Their obesity rate does not went up. And they eat a ton of rice. The Ketavans of Papua New Guinea.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Eat sweet potatoes out their wazoo. It's over 80% of their diet is sweet potatoes, right?
You're pulling out some facts.
They should be some big fat motherfuckers, right?
Yes.
I probably shouldn't say this. This is educational. Podcast.
Well,
they should be big and huge and fat because they eat sweet potatoes all the time, right? Complex carbs out the wazoo. Guess what? Not obese. Pretty lean.
Well, if you're chasing tigers,
and they're just eating because they need energy, but it's,
Yeah.
It's one of those things where there's people who eat a lot of carbs and complex carbs. And it's not about that. It's about all the other bullshit that we're eating. You can eat sweet potatoes, a lot of sweet potatoes, and still be healthy and lean.
So if I eat only sugars and vegetable oils and junk,
Which is
but
what
no
the American
carbs,
diet is mostly consumed.
yeah, but I skip carbs, you're telling me I still won't be a six-pack?
Yeah, but you're probably not, because most of those things have carbs also in it, but they blame
Son
the
of a-
carbs.
Yeah.
Just like there's a lot. I'm not a doctor.
Clearly.
But I've read and
But
listened to a lot
his
of
best friend
doctors.
is married to one.
Yes, but I've read and listened to, and I've gotten a good enough amount of information to go, is plaque and arteries very important to having heart attacks, right? Clogged arteries.
You would think.
It's part of it. You know what? Most of the doctors that I've like also heard say, well, the biggest problem is inflammation in the heart muscle, and in the everything's constricted because there's so much inflammation because of our diets.
Yeah,
and that's where a lot of heart attacks happen, not just from backed up plaque. That happens.
Yeah,
but a bigger problem is the inflammation of our heart muscle because our whole bodies are inflamed by eating so much crap.
now you're making me not want to eat.
Yeah,
those extra box of Pop-Tarts.
So
Jerk.
In general, also these food companies are also taking they're getting the dietary fiber out of the fiber.
Yeah.
Out of the grains. They're trying to get, not the grains are maybe the best thing to eat either in high levels, but they're also taking the good stuff out too. And that dietary fiber helps regulate our digestive system. It helps take fat out of our system. So there's all these things that are happening, and we're all sitting there going, why are we obese in America? I'll tell you why. Big food.
Big food.
Big pharma and big food together. And then the government, and which is one of my solutions, has a bunch of asinine people running how they
putting the ass in asinine,
telling you what you should eat.
Don't be using these big words around me.
So these jackasses have the food pyramid.
Yeah.
You ever sat and read the food pyramid?
Isn't PepsiCo at the top?
Probably.
All right.
But there was a CDC for oh man. There was somebody who's a dietary expert.
Yeah.
Who came out and worked, I believe it was for the CDC or maybe FDA. I think maybe it was the FDA. I watched this video, and this person said it's healthier to eat Lucky Charms than to eat eggs.
Wow.
So just think about that statement. Now, our yolks have high cholesterol and fat in them? Yeah. But it came from an animal. Am I saying you should eat like 50 egg yolks a day? No. But let's say it's 3 eggs.
Yeah.
Or a bowl of Lucky Charms better for you?
I'm going with 3 eggs.
There you go. These are the idiots that are making our food pyramid.
I think you should be in charge of the FDA.
Well, what I think is there should be people a lot smarter than me.
Yeah.
That study this stuff, that actually have real opinions, that isn't that food chart is done by big food.
Yeah.
It's done by big food. It's not done by real nutritionists. Any real nutritionist out there will look at that food pyramid and go,
he's giving a bird for those who are listening.
They would be like, that is horrible. And even with me, when I make meal plans for people, I would never go by that piece of crap.
No.
Also, the federal government goes by BMI to tell you if you're obese or not obese.
Check last episode for how he feels about BMI.
So here's some things that I think that need to be done.
Okay.
Because, hey, I gave you a bunch of reasons why America's obese.
Solve it for us.
Let's give a few. It's not going to solve it, but let's give a few ideas. Let's not sit there and throw rocks at the glass house. Let's give a few ideas.
I got one.
Get rid of the food pyramid and have real nutritionists that aren't associated with any big food making our food pyramid, meaning they're not getting money. There's no lobbyist company paying their company from big food. These are nutritionists that are independent, that are brought in on a council, and they all have to like swear oaths that they're not working with big food.
I got something even better. Before you can order anything out of fast food, you have to drop on the ground and do 50 burpees.
No.
Then you can order a Happy Meal.
I like the idea, but we got to start systemically educating people.
Okay. Well, if you want to go with
the food pyramid,
I'll go with mine.
So they need to make a good food pyramid.
All right.
They need to or not even a food pyramid. Just make a healthy, like, here, you should eat 2,000 calories a day if you weigh this much.
Pop-Tarts at the top.
You should eat 1,500 calories if you weigh this much. You know, there's also outliers. There's guys in the NFL that can do 40-inch verticals and weigh 300 pounds and run 4 5s.
Yeah.
They're different human beings out there, but you got to give a structured guideline for the average adult.
Yeah.
So you got to come up with a system. And I don't know if that system is a food pyramid. I would probably say no. I would like to see guidelines on how you should eat,
All right,
but
so
not made by big food.
So let me
'Cause
summarize.
right now, big food makes them all.
You want an transparent, independent agency to redo
Of some of the best nutritionists in our country that are going to
Yes.
redo and not be affected by big food.
or money or outside sources or lobbying be in charge of the food pyramid. All right, so that's one. Okay, I'll go for that. I kind of liked my drop and give me 50 before you go up to the drive-through window, but okay.
Scrap BMI.
I'm in favor of that.
I think body fat percentage is what I always focus on with people. And that's what's a true indicator of health. I am not obese. I am fit. I am healthy, but I would be obese on their charts because I'm 6'2". Right now I'm 211 pounds.
Yeah, so how does BMI go between fat and muscle?
Your height.
Yeah.
So there's also two different ways. There's a way where they're more advanced way where they'll measure your waist and head. The military does that. But just straight BMI when you're doing an app, or what they're talking about when the CDC talks about BMI and stuff. So when they're doing all these studies, let it be said is there's a lot of obese people out there, and we can see it. Go to Walmart, go to the mall, go to a baseball game, go anywhere.
Yeah.
Don't go out to the trails to run because you won't see them there. But go out there and see. Go to a Spartan race. How many obese people that we're like sitting there going, "Oh my God, you shouldn't be out here on the course." How many?
Some might have said it to me.
No, because at least you're tall and lean. I mean, we're talking about people that probably were 5'5", weighed 200 pounds, and then you're standing next to them like, man, this is really hard. I should have trained for this.
Yeah.
No shit. But there's obese people everywhere. They're not just a little obese. They are really fat and out of shape and need to lose 40, 50, 60 pounds.
Yep.
Okay. BMI is not a true indicator if you're healthy, fit, but body fat percentage is. How much money do we spend on stuff in this government? On the stupidest crap for other countries, just stupid crap that we spend money on. Let's invest money in the health and wellness of our society. There's great, like I'm not a bioimpedance fan of machines where you just hold on to, probes, but there's ones you can hook up. There's DEXA scan. There's things that are really accurate. And why don't we invest money and have centers in this country? And if you do that, then you could do another thing that I think is a solution. Well, not a solution, but it may help. None of this is a solution because there's people that are just going to keep eating the crap they want to eat. They lack discipline. They don't care about working out. You know, they're going to be 65 with a cane, taking 20 medications on the counter. There's going to be those. It's America. We're free to do what we want to do.
Damn right.
I don't think we should be like telling people we got to close McDonald's down, or you got to make your own choices for you. But we need to educate people. There's got to be a huge education program. And also, I think there should be a tax incentive.
Ooh.
So let's say you set up these centers, this doctor's office, this gym. You can go in and use this machine. And if it says that you're in this zone, you get a $1,000 tax credit.
I'm in. Money.
How easy would that really be to do? Think about all the stupid stuff we spend money on in this country.
Yeah.
We gave, $80 billion to Ukraine.
Oh, more. We spent how much on...
in 1 year, we spent more in Ukraine than we did in the 20 years in Afghanistan. But yet we can't, take care of our citizens and start taking an intelligent way of trying to get people healthy in this country when we know it's an epidemic? Obesity is an epidemic. It's a real epidemic, unlike other epidemics recently that were not epidemics.
Here we go. No,
it's not going to that because then YouTube will take over the podcast down. But there's, let's all right.
I'm all for incentive-based programs and have testing things where it's easier to prove. I think that's good.
Let's see, in a city like Roseville, let's say there is 10 to 12 gyms that have this machine. They subsidize the machine, or let's say they'll pay for half of it and you pay for half of it, and you can charge for people to come in a few bucks, or they'll subsidize the machine and you just have to take your time to come in and use it. And the government will give you the gym owner a certain stipend, every month, if you do this many people, you're going to get this. So you incentivize, number one, it's good for a business person.
Yeah.
But number two is, and if this person reaches that, they get $1,000 tax credit, just like we get tax credit for our kids, but it's to be healthy. Think about what that would do to our health system.
I would save so much money.
Yes.
I think it'd be more than 1,000, but I think that's a good starting
point.
Let's
just say 1,000 because we don't want to get too greedy.
Okay. All right.
All right. So we got these areas that are focused on body fat percentage. These machines that are very good. They're expensive though. The really good ones are, going to be expensive. Let's say $7,000 to $10,000 for each one of these machines.
Well, the government
all over the
just
country is going to cost a lot of money. But think
about $1 trillion on a warship to decide that it's not good, and they only made one of them, and they scrapped the whole thing. But that's beside the point. So, okay, money's not an issue for that. Okay, you got me there. All right, what's another one? I like this. Those are two good ones.
There is a program for seniors that is subsidized by the government called Silver Sneakers. Have you heard of it?
No.
So let's say you take that program and make it for everybody. So the government will say, hey, if you want to belong to one of these certified gyms, because the gym actually has to go through and meet certain criteria. They have to install the program at their gym. Yeah. And so then they get paid a little bit of money by the government or, whatever foundation is doing it or whatever. And I'm not I looked into it a little bit a few years ago. My mom was like, you should do the Silver Sneakers. Me and Steve do, and they pay for this, our membership at this location.
We are getting old.
I know. But what I'm saying is there's programs you subsidize and you try to encourage people to get to the gym. Yeah. So that's another way. But the main thing is we got to start educating people on facts. Not what Big Food wants to give us facts, not their studies, but independent studies. They need to put studies where Big Food can't touch it. Yeah. Meaning the government is paying them, or this foundation, which is set up like this, or a company like the CDC.
So if you go missing in a few days, we'll know why.
But here's the thing. The CDC has a bunch of private, they're real cozy with Big Food and Big Pharma and stuff too. You know what I mean? So we need something that's going to be transparent, and it's going to be, this study's a real study, not a bullshit study done by Big Food. If
Casey goes missing, we know why.
Big Food got me.
Big Food.
And let me be honest, I love some of that stuff. You know what I love?
Pop-Tarts?
Pillsbury crumb cakes. Crumb cakes. They're the best, but they're horrible.
Cinnabons.
They're one of the worst things you can eat, but damn, they're good.
Yeah.
Think about any mix. You go, oh, I made it from scratch. You didn't really. You bought a box that was mixed. I bake sometimes. Yeah. And I like making a coffee cake. Yeah. I like cinnamon and sugar. It's great.
See this.
Then I look at the box and I start reading it and I start comparing it to where I go, oh my God, it has all the horrible stuff.
I grew up on a farm area, in a farm community, and almost all of our neighbors were Amish. And if someone in the Amish community wanted to use our phone for something to call or whatever, they would bring you food. And we'd be like, we'll give you our dog or whatever for the food. So when the Amish make stuff, they actually make it from scratch.
There you go.
So you're talking pig fat. So when they make a cake and it's a butter frosting, I'm like, this is the most down to earth, homemade, fattening cake you've ever had in your life. And I'm telling you,
it's probably less fattening.
Yeah, it's probably
crumb cakes from Pillsbury.
Yeah, it's probably healthier than all this processed food. But the difference in taste, I'm still chasing that dragon of pure Amish made food. So every time I go back to Ohio and I visit friends, I try to go back into the Amish community and try to barter for a cake. Because unless you've had stuff made from lard and pig fat.
I have. My grandma on my dad's side of the family
so good.
Had a big bucket of lard in her.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And her stuff was so moist. And so, I still remember it to this day. I used to always think the lard thing really threw me for a loop because my mom did not cook with lard per se and stuff. Yeah. My grandma and that stuff, I'll be honest, I didn't like eating a lot up there because it was kind of I don't know, the house always seemed dirty and stuff. Yeah. But, it was a ranch.
Cook lard, that'll happen.
And I always I would go, but holy crap, was that the most moist, great tasting cake?
Oh my gosh.
That was really good.
Shout out to the Amish out there.
Yeah. Hey, and they should be using any technology. I mean, why are you coming and using phones? I mean, low standards there.
They will go. I could do a whole podcast on the Amish. I'm very familiar with them. least they used to be, but they would go to Walmart, and the Walmart where we lived back when I was there would have horse posts. And they would go there for lumber, and they would go there for tools and stuff, and then they would go back. But my favorite joke is you would sit in our house and you would hear like a car drive by with their radio and be like, go by. But with the Amish, they would tape like a radio, like a boombox to their thing. And then you would hear the whole song as this little horse goes clipping, clopping down the road. It would drive you nutty. But anyways, that's another digression. But that's my famous Amish joke. And there are people, I know plenty of Amish who have been ticketed for DWI.
Another thing besides DWIs,
for Amish,
not healthy. But another thing is, how many people tell me they go to Italy and the food there is so amazing. Like it seems like the flour's different, all the ingredients are different.
Yeah.
It's because it is.
Yeah.
It isn't this American. They don't wash
olive
all
oil.
The grains.
They don't have the cheese.
Yeah, they are more from scratch, and they don't have all the preservatives, all the other bullshit that we have in our big. Now, with this being said, there's no GMOs or anything over in Italy. But this being said, is we can also feed a lot more people in our country. We mass produce stuff.
Yeah.
So we're not going to have starving people here. If we do, it's just pure
laziness,
pure capitalism and laziness. But because we can mass produce foods that some of these others cannot. But maybe we should mass produce food, but make it healthy. Not wash dietary fiber out of things, not sanitize everything just for taste and just to get people addicted to stuff.
Blowing my mind, man. You're blowing my mind.
So that's pretty much, you can dive into dietary. I could do a whole podcast on dietary fiber and what food does.
Oh, I think you will.
Into it. But it was really interesting just going to start thinking about the business I do, which is helping people get healthy and fit, seeing so much obesity at the mall that it just made me go, oh my God.
Does it ever make you feel?
I don't remember ever seeing this many 350 plus pound people. You see them, but you go, let's say I walk around the mall and I might see one or two on a scooter or whatever. I saw 4 in a little segment of the mall drive past me, and I'm just like, what in the blue hell is going on?
Does it make you think either one, I have plenty of clients,
but the
it's a
problem
good
is
career.
Those people don't seem to they do. Trust me, I've helped people lose. I've helped people that were 300 pound plus lose a lot of 100 pounds. All my 100-pound weight loss people are all well over 300 pounds, so because they had a lot to lose. Like with you're getting, probably if you're at 205, you're getting, what was your top weight?
Top weight was 300.
So, I mean, you're 95 pounds.
Yeah.
But you didn't have there's not a lot more. There's not you could get more fat off your body, but in general, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to have somebody be a 100-pound weight loss person, I think I've had 4 or 5 over the years have lost over 100 pounds. I go, fuck, that's 100 pounds. I have a lot of 40, 50, 60 pound weight losses. Yeah. But over 100, you got to start
Pansies.
off. And when they come in, they can't do much. No. So it's a very slow process. It's a process of slowly building their endurance. I may just have them walking laps in here.
Yeah.
For part of their workout, and then doing really light weights or just moving their arms up and down because they can't do anything else because they're so out of shape. But it's a building process. And for the ones that get up over 100 pounds of weight loss, they go from barely being able to walk around the gym and do 3-pound weights to, oh, you lost 100 pounds. Now they're over here
co-hosting a podcast.
The elliptical, that too. Or they're on the Stairmaster.
Yeah.
They're lifting weights. They're going over the boxes. They're slamming the ball. There's all these things they're doing that they weren't able to do when they first walked in. But there's a lot of those people that are in that mall that they don't want anything to do with fitness.
Do you ever feel overwhelmed? Feel like there's so many things going against me to get people
I just sometimes want to walk up to overweight people at the mall. And it's a real dicey thing to do. There's been a few times where I've just been I ended up striking up a conversation with somebody who's really overweight. I go,
so how do you feel about
I'm a fitness
vegetable
trainer. And I help people lose weight and get in shape, but it wasn't like I sought them out for that. But you end up having a conversation with one of them. Oh, I really need to lose weight. And I go,
I'll give you the first 2 sessions free. Come on down.
I have talked and tried to get, but the problem is the motivation and the fear. There's a lot of fear when you're that weight.
Yeah.
About going to the gym. That's why I have a private gym here that is, semi-private. Brad might show up during your workout. But like I don't have very many memberships available.
No, I told you.
It's more of just people
Yeah.
coming in to work with me or work in the small group atmosphere because they're afraid to go to big gyms because they're so embarrassed about their weight. They're worried about their health. They're worried about dying if they come in and work out. Not going to happen unless you have a serious heart problem, because you come in and work with a trainer who knows what they're doing. They're going to have you doing easy stuff. It's just slowly building you up. They're going to work on your nutrition with you, but you have to do those things and really want to be committed to it. So 100 pounds of weight loss is a big deal, but going to a mall and seeing this and then diving, it didn't take much of a dive. You start typing stuff in on YouTube, on Google, and
dive is a big word. You dipped your toe in.
CDC has some good information, but I also take their information with a grain of salt because I don't know how independent their studies are.
Yeah.
They may have said, oh, this was a study done by the CDC. And then I saw some guys digging into it on YouTube and going, oh, guess what? The CDC really didn't do this. They're using this study that was done at this university. But guess who's paying that university and that study group?
McDonald's. PepsiCo.
Nabisco, parent companies, Pillsbury, those type of things. The parent companies are paying for these studies. So you got to really take everything with a grain of salt, just like the average American's eating 17 teaspoons of sugar every day.
Yeah, there's no way that's low.
That's if you drink a couple Gatorades and a soda or have.
I'm calling bullshit on that. I'm calling 30, I would say 35 easy. I would
say it's 30, 35 easy. And then there's other studies that said that Americans eat about, the average American eats. And you know what the problem is teenagers eat way more than what adults eat.
Yeah.
And so let's say all those teenagers, as they go into adulthood, why do we have so much obesity? And why are people in their 20s? Why does my son have a belly?
Freaking Destiny 2?
No. He sits and does, I wish it was Destiny 2. At least he'd be playing a good game. He sits and does Dungeons and Dragons. He has the virtual reality goggles on. But you know what? He works 7 days a week, so I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah,
but he eats like shit, and he doesn't want to work out. He doesn't like working out.
I've seen your son. If he decided to work out, he'd be a beast.
Yeah, he's 6 foot tall. I mean, and but I'm also, you got to want it yourself.
Yeah.
I've never made my kids come and work out. I've never said you have to. Every once in a while, they'll be like, all right, or they have a friend that wants to come work out.
Yeah.
So then they'll come work out with them. But I've never forced them, and neither one of them never been very interested in coming and working out. So, it took having, my ex, her son was like me.
Yeah.
He loved working out, and I helped him a lot because he wanted it.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to help me with
and that kid has a 6-pack, and he's built like a brick shithouse now.
How old does my daughter have to be before you turn into a beast?
Really, I really don't start doing much training with people until they're 12 years old.
All right.
But
2.5 years, Elia.
Yeah.
Then it's go time.
When they reach 12, then you can start doing light weights and mobility exercises, plyometrics, those type of things.
All right.
But that's kind of like, those are the main things. Sedentary lifestyle, sugar, way too much, vegetable and seed oils.
Devils
cause you to want to eat more and cause you to crave food more. Crave your body to crave eating more.
I crave all the time.
Caloric surplus, eating too much food. You got to eat enough dietary fiber. And then some solutions. Stop doing all those things. But in general is educate the society on
properly.
What is real. First, we have to come up with what is real, not what's on the CDC website, not what NIH or the FDA recommends.
Mm-hmm.
Have an independent council of real people in the nutrition field that are recognized, that aren't sponsored by, big companies that care about profits.
Yep.
And you get guidelines set. Then you try to educate society on those guidelines. Then you incentivize society on those guidelines. And then you try to get people healthy.
And then I'm going to go back to mine of.
You just sounded like that Asian chick. And then
you're going to go.
And then
before you can order.
And then
Popeyes, Arby's, White Castle, whatever. You got to drop and do 50 burpees.
What was that, Happy Gilmore?
Yeah.
Or was it one of the other Adam Sandler movies? And then
I think it was Happy, but it's been so long.
It was one of.
I'm going to die on this hill of everybody has to do 50 burpees before they can order fast food.
And then
boom, there.
Yeah, so burpees are great, but they're not going to outwork.
No, but it'll keep
McDonald's
lazy
for 3 meals
other
a day.
people from getting that food all the time.
So, But that's kind of
you're going to really have to want those fries.
Idea of what's causing obesity, but there's many other things too. So this isn't the only stuff that's causing obesity, but this is a big part of it. From everything that I was reading and seeing from experts, and I may be an expert individually training people, and I'm a fitness expert. I love to train people. I'm really into the fitness aspect of it, but obviously I make nutrition, do nutrition. There's a lot of experts out there, and they'll say the same things. You know, I'm regurgitating stuff that they've said. I try to turn it into my own words and regurgitate it the way I would say it. But this is what's going on in general. Are there other things that are causing it? You could dive into each one of these subjects and do hours on them. Yeah. But
we will in time.
Probably. Eventually, we will. But I like to keep it more entertaining. Talk about Star Wars and stuff.
This was a dense educational pod.
I wanted to give just an overview of what's causing obesity in America to rise at such a rapid rate, and this is it. And I think we need to really do something about it. Do I think that anything's going to be done? Probably not. What do we got? What kind of leadership do we really have in this country?
Pop-Tarts are good, bro.
I mean, does anybody like any politicians? I don't pretty much like none.
Brown sugar cinnamon.
So I don't know what's going to happen for this, but I foresee. Unfortunately, I'm a realist.
Yeah.
And I will continue to do what I do to help people because I can help the people that want help from me.
Yeah.
But I think we're on our way to Wall-E.
Let's hope.
Get your levitating sleds to take you
I
around
am
town.
so ready for a levitating sled and a 64-ounce big gulp of Diet Coke.
Second breakfast every day.
Oh, my God. Sausage egg McMuffin is my kryptonite.
It's just that's the route we're going. Unless we get in a big world war and a bunch of us die and we have to relook at what
here's hoping.
we have to reevaluate what is healthy and good, and we don't have all these big big food companies anymore, and we get reduced back to the Stone Age.
Do you ever see Demolition Man?
Yep.
Everything now is a Taco Bell. That's what's going to happen.
I really think
the
thing that I thought is the most realistic was Wall-E.
All right. Well,
I think that's the most. If society stays on the track we're staying, and there's no world wars, or technology keeps advancing, there's peace. Wall-E's going to happen. Right. We're going to be in space on our space cruisers because they ruined.
Well, not us. We're old, but our grandkids.
Nuked our planet. Eventually, we all got in a war and nuked. But the people that were, advanced enough, got out on yachts. They were all fat because the technology does everything for them, and they ate what was given them, and they kept eating and kept eating. And they're big flat slugs like Jabba the Hutt.
Well, before we go, because this has gone long, Casey, just let it be known, took a shot of energy drink before this podcast. That's why it's going to be a 2-hour podcast, because he's fired up and ready to go. Before we go, we should say next podcast, it won't be this heavy on fitness because we have to talk about Heir to the Empire.
Yep.
You're going to have to watch Guardians of the Galaxy at some point.
I think we'll have a whole
Avatar.
Podcast. We'll have the whole Star Wars setup. We'll talk just about Heir to the Empire.
Just this one. This is Casey is he lives this stuff. For people who only listen to this and aren't really familiar with Casey, he lives this. He breathes this. He would do this. He would deep dive into this stuff even for anything. So this is what Casey's passionate about. Every now and then I have to let him do what he wants. I have to force him into some Star Trek talk every now and then. And as a reward, I go you know what, Casey, go crazy with your sugar, with your fats, your vegetable oils, let it out. He actually absolutely believes this lifestyle and things, and he lives it. He believes it. This is why you're such a good trainer. Just a little bit into his mind. We could get going, and you would go 3 more hours. Even if I turned off the camera, I'd be let's talk more about fibers.
Diving into dietary fibers.
Yeah, I know
how they're all these complex carbs.
Yep, this is
all
you.
These grains. They get rid of all the all these things.
We don't have to get you. It's okay. 2 things Casey's passionate about: Kathleen Kennedy killed Star Wars, and Dietary fiber.
She didn't kill it. She
Yeah.
just injured it badly.
Yeah.
Now it's slowly healing and getting back.
Oh my gosh. I'm exhausted after this one. This
is what you get on making me come in on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I drink an energy shot and then let's go.
Let's go. Let us go. All right. So let's wrap up. Tell the name of the podcast and where they can find you and your phone number. So I have the lower thirds already ready to roll. If you don't know
the name of the podcast, just look on your YouTube or your Apple or your Spotify.
Follow us on the socials, please.
Do or do not podcast on the socials. My website is rosevillese.com. Roseville SE for strength and conditioning.com. Also, Roseville Strength and Conditioning on Instagram, Facebook. Recoup Room.
Twitter.
You talk about Twitter. I don't do Twitter at all. This guy does Twitter. So if anybody interacts with you on Twitter, it's this guy because it wasn't me.
Looking at you, Wikipedia.
So
let's wrap it up.
It was a good. I actually am happy we did this. Now I'm going to go home and watch some UFC
and eat some.
That's it.
Eat some sugar.
Bam, we're done.
Done.